Today, I'm going to share with you my top tips on how to find meaning in your job so you can start feeling energized about your work and making an impact on others. Hi, and welcome back to another segment of Triple T, where I reveal my top tips and tricks to help you excel at work and reach your highest potential. I'm Allie, and today I'm going to share with you the best ways you can find meaning in your job. As for the question of the day, I'm curious to know, why do you want a more meaningful job? What would having a more meaningful job mean to you? And then once you thought about it, be sure to let me know in the comments below. I always love reading what you have to say. Otherwise, sit back, relax, and grab a drink, and we'll get started. Nothing is worse than waking up every morning knowing that you're going to spend the next 8 to 10 hours of your day in a job that makes watching paint dry look entertaining. It's miserable and drains the very energy out of you. So much so, in fact, that a survey conducted by BetterUp Labs found that out of 2,285 professionals, 9 out of 10 of them would happily give up 23% of their future earnings so they can have meaningful work. This is because people who pursue meaningful jobs are much happier in their careers, more engaged with their work, and the most productive they've ever been. These are people who make a difference in others' lives and have a large impact on society. It's just a question of, how do you find this meaningful work? Most people would say that you have to go on this long, life-changing journey of self-discovery to find a meaningful job, but guess what? Finding a meaningful job doesn't have to be that difficult. In fact, with a few strategies, you can find meaning in your job in no time at all. And to help you with that, I'm going to share with you my top tips on how to find meaning in your job. These tips are easy to do and only require you to be open-minded. So if you're ready to say goodbye to those dark and soulless days at work and say hello to a happier, more engaged you, then here's my top tips for finding meaning in your job. Tip number 1, understand your why and how. If we're talking about finding meaningful work, then you need to set some time aside to understand why your work is important and how you want to make a difference. When you're talking about finding meaning in your job, you need to be able to align your purpose and values with the job you're pursuing. This means that work won't become meaningful to you until you understand your motivation, role, and approach to achieving your goals. So ask yourself, what's the purpose of your job? It exists for a reason, so why does it exist? Why is it important? Then consider your values. What drives you? Are there any problems or projects you're excited to pursue? Really sit down and think about how you want to live your life through your work. By asking these questions, by taking the time to understand your purpose and values, you're making it clear what it is you want, and that'll go a long way with helping you find meaning in your job. Tip number 2, shift to a positive mindset. Not only is changing your mindset a great way to reduce stress and enhance your mood, but it's also one of the best ways to discover meaning in your job. Negative or pessimistic people have a difficult time seeing the bright side of life and appreciating the things around them. This makes it difficult for them to see the bigger picture and how their contributions can impact society. So if you want your work to be more meaningful, then you need to make an effort to be more positive and optimistic. Make sure to start your day on a positive note by reading your favorite motivational quote. When you're at work, allow yourself to laugh and have a little bit of fun. If you have 5 minutes to yourself, use that time to write down 3 to 5 things you appreciate. Do these small things and do it consistently, and you'll see your mindset shift to a more positive one. And this will make it much easier for you to be open to the possibilities around you and discover the meaning in your work. Tip number 3, avoid the negative. Going off the last tip, if you're trying to adopt a positive mindset and find meaningful work, then it goes without saying that you also need to avoid the negative things around you. It's difficult to see your work as meaningful when you're surrounded by negativity and toxic people all the time. It's exhausting and can easily ruin the significant moments you have throughout your day. So what do? Avoid anything that's negative as much as possible. This includes toxic people at work, the news, as well as your own words. Words are powerful and can trigger changes in your mood without even you realizing it. So be mindful of the things that you say to yourself. And whatever you do, don't stress out when you mess up. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. So the second you catch yourself saying something negative, acknowledge it, and then just change it to something more positive. Do this, avoid the negative things around you, and you'll not only be much happier and more positive about life, but you'll be more aware of the work that gives you meaning and drive. Tip number 4, be of service to others. Finding a meaningful job means finding work that impacts society and helps change the lives of others. So naturally, you're going to have to start being of service to others if you want to find meaningful work. One of the biggest misconceptions I hear about doing meaningful work is that the things you do need to be monumental, if not life-changing, to the person you're helping. So let me be the one to tell you that that couldn't be farther from the truth. Meaningful work is not about the scope of what you do. It's about taking actions to help another person. This can be one person or 1,000, a 5-second exchange or a 2-year partnership. It doesn't matter. As long as you're being of service to others and feel driven as you're doing it, then you're doing meaningful work. So identify the people you want to help and make it a habit to help them. Discover what problems they have and give them the resources they need to solve it. This can be anything from your own personal time to your knowledge and expertise in a certain area. Do these things. Be of service to others, and you'll not only develop strong connections with others, but you'll find meaning in your contributions to yourself and society as a whole. Tip number 5, job crafting. Another way you can find meaning in your job is through job crafting. Job crafting is a work approach in which employees proactively shape their work and the environment around them to meet their individual wants and needs. Now, typically when you think of job crafting, you think about changing the tasks or responsibilities of your job, but it's so much more than that. Job crafting is also about making changes to your relationships and mindset. So take a look at your situation and ask yourself, what do you think needs to be changed? If it's the work itself, then make the necessary tweaks so your work is more meaningful. For example, a manager may decide to create a warm and positive environment in order to enhance their employees' motivation and performance on the job. So overall, if you want to find more meaningful work, then you might want to consider job crafting. It's not only a great way to increase your job satisfaction and work engagement, but it can also increase your performance. Tip number 6, pursue opportunities to grow. If you want to find meaningful work and make a difference in people's lives, then you need to constantly be on alert for new learning and growth opportunities. There are several different ways to approach problems you come across at work. The problem is you won't really know which approach to use or which approach best aligns with you unless you actively search for growth opportunities. So find some books written by industry experts to read, take a seminar, or attend a course. Really go out of your way to learn any chance you get. When you do this, you're allowing yourself to see things from a fresh, new perspective and giving yourself the tools to create your own unique approach to work, all of which are needed if you're going to find meaning in your work. Tip number 7, make a change. This is a last case scenario, but if you tried everything else I've suggested and are still having a difficult time finding meaningful work, then it's possible that you need to make a change. Now, how big this change is up to you in your personal situation, but it can be anything from something small like switching different departments or to something more extreme such as leaving the company or changing careers entirely. Really take some time to think about the root cause of your situation. Is it something you can actively change, or is it something that's outside of your control? If it's the latter, then sometimes the best step to take to have a happier, more meaningful career is to leave the current one for one that's a better fit for you. But do this cautiously and after you've assessed the current situation. Don't quit if you can't afford to leave. Leave once you've secured a position first. If you're trying to become an entrepreneur, then use your spare time to develop an action plan and save up money. It can take you easily 1 to 2 years to get started, so you want to make sure you have enough money to sustain you for that period of time. So if you want to find more meaningful work, then I hate to say this, you might want to consider making a change. And there you have it, my top tips for finding meaning in your job. Use these tips and you're going to feel much happier and more engaged in your work. You'll feel empowered because of the difference you're making in others' lives. Now, if you're still struggling to figure out what job or what work is meaningful to you, or maybe you're just unhappy with your job, then I highly suggest you watch this video next, where I share some of the top reasons why you're unhappy with your work. Now, before you go, if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It helps me get my videos out there and lets you know when I release new content. Otherwise, it's been fun having you today. Until we drink again, take it easy. Bye. I'm not sure if you can see this, but look how much cream they put in there. This literally, the whole thing is made of cream. And it's not that sweet. That's what surprises me. There's not that much sweetness in it. Absolutely boggles my mind. But I'm not complaining because that just means I get to have a couple more. Take it easy, everyone.